Joining me now is Jonathan Jones of the Charlotte Observer here on the Rich Eisen Show. Jonathan, what happens with Greg Hardy now, do you think?
You know, it's obviously up in the air, first of all. Thanks for having me on.
You bet.
We'll see. You know, the Panthers, sources have been telling us for months that whether it was guilty or not guilty, he wasn't going to be a Panther anymore. You know, you paid a guy $13.1 million with the franchise tag, and you sit up on weekend nights and you wonder, hey, you know, what's he doing? And this, obviously, he had some things in his past. At Ole Miss, he was very difficult to handle. He kept getting asked if he was bipolar in the pre-draft interview process. He had a motorcycle accident. Then later he posted going 100 miles per hour in a Bentley. He took a picture of it while he was driving. So there's been a lot of things with Greg. Certainly domestic violence charges would be the most serious, but there's always been stuff around Greg. And is he really worth the headache? And so now that's what the Panthers have to decide. One, is he really worth that headache? And everything that we've been told, it does not appear that the Panthers will be bringing back Greg Hardy.
Jonathan Jones of the Charlotte Observer joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. So from what we are hearing from the district attorney there in Charlotte, that the reason why the charges were dropped was the accuser could not be found, that they could not locate her despite all forms of methods to get her to testify. Is that the case, Jonathan?
That's right. They couldn't even serve her because they couldn't find her. So they lost contact with her around November. They reached out to family members. They went to her address. They figured out where they believe she was living. They set up surveillance around that. They couldn't find her there. They went to her civil attorney, and he wouldn't provide any assistance in locating her. You know, I've been told by some people she was going all across the country there in December. And so, yeah, they couldn't find her, and because of that, they couldn't serve her. And when they started matching up her statement the night that the alleged assault occurred on May 13th, 2014, and then they looked at the court transcript from July 15th, they realized that some things didn't match up, and then the state really, without the witness, and of course with statements that do not match up, they could not go forward.
From what you could tell, did she settle something civilly with Greg Hardy?
That is the belief. The state has, quote, reliable information that she reached some civil settlement with Hardy.
So what do you think the Panthers, so you think that this is over between the Panthers and Greg Hardy, in other words?
I do, and that's what sources have been telling us for quite some time now, that, you know, they tried the Greg Hardy experiment, and it was great when he was on that rookie deal as a sixth-rounder, and then, obviously, as Dave Gettleman said, it blew up on him. $13.1 million, and they only got one sack out of him in 2014. I just think that they're done with the headache.
Yeah, and the league says that it is looking into this matter. They're not having any comment on the latest disposition of the Hardy case, which is now done in Charlotte. And the question is obviously what other teams might do with this information. I'm on the phone with Jonathan Jones of the Charlotte Observer. I would be remiss if I did not mention that you are a Tar Heel and give you the floor on the passing of Dean Smith, Jonathan.
Yeah, obviously it was tough news for a lot of folks to wake up to. It's one of those days that, you know, for the past several years now, we've all known it was coming. Your newspapers, you kind of prepare for it, obviously, but you don't know what it's going to be like when it happens. And the outpouring from everyone in the university community and really even rivals, it's been tremendous. You know, Dean was, it's difficult to say if you weren't in the university community really what he meant. But he's a guy that, Rich, you and I are professionals, and we like to call people by their first names. You called him Coach Smith. Everybody called him Coach Smith. No one really referred to him as Dean, even in professional settings. And so it's another great loss for the Tar Heel community. But what a great man he was.
What did he mean to the state, Jonathan?
I'm sorry?
What did he mean to the state as a whole?
His reach was so greater than basketball. And there's story after story of what he was able to do in the 1960s, bringing a black friend to a whites-only restaurant establishment, bringing on Charlie Scott. I mean, he integrated ACC basketball and ACC basketball in the South with really no help or assistance from anyone else. He just said, I'm Dean Smith. I'm going to do this. And this was in the 60s. This was before Dean had any rings to his name. This was before Dean had 879 wins. He did these kinds of things because they were the right thing to do. He was such a lightning rod for change, and he was able to do it in Chapel Hill.
Thanks for calling in, Jonathan. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Rich.
You bet. That's Jonathan Jones of the Charlotte Observer joining me here on The Rich Eisen Show.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On audience.